Everything that comes into our facility is recycled 100%.
Everyone in Thailand is concerned about sustainability.
This hotel is making it so these forests can regenerate.
Welcome to Save My Planet. I'm Stephen Brooks. Being green often comes down to the choices we make, but it also has to do with the opportunities that we have. For some people, living green just isn't an option. Here in Costa Rica, there's a lot of folks who understand that protecting the environment and developing local communities goes hand in hand, but we'll talk about that later. First, have you ever stopped to think about all the electronic waste we generate? From cell phones to computers, it can really pile up. And some of those pieces are full of nasty toxins you don't want to put in a landfill. But that e-waste isn't junk. There are plenty of recyclable parts in our old electronics. It's just a matter of getting them into the right pipeline.
EPA studies indicate that approximately 2.9 million tons of electronic wastes are generated per year.
People in the U.S. dispose of their electronic waste through just throwing it in a trash can. Unfortunately, a lot of the consumers don't know that there's so many hazards involved with throwing these materials away.
Today, the average lifespan of a laptop computer is anywhere from 18 to 24 months. A lot of electronic wastes have hazardous components, whether it's lead solder, or mercury, or bromides that might be in plastics as a fire retardant. Those are materials that you typically do not want placed in a landfill.
It's going to ultimately impact our water supply, or it's going to impact our air. It's going to impact how we live our lives. If you go home today and you look around your house, anything you can plug into a wall or has batteries in it can either go in a landfill, with some of the dangerous toxins in those products, or it can be reused again.
The mission at Intercon is making sure that electronics and anything that can be recycled is recycled.
We concentrate on demanufacturing of electronic equipment. We break it down into its raw material components.
We recycle every component of every material that comes into our facility.
Literally 100% of what's contained in a piece of electronic equipment can be recycled.
100% of electronics can be recycled. That's great news for the planet. But first, they need to be taken apart to get to the raw material.
The biggest problem with e-waste is that you have a bunch of different recyclable products that are mixed together. So that then makes it a waste product. If you separate those items, you're simply talking about a recyclable product at that point.
So each one of these panels was the back of a plasma TV. In that TV, there were various, there's mercury switches, there's glass, there's plastics, there's copper, there's all kinds of different materials that have a value if it's all taken apart.
First off, we detag all monitors, serial numbers, customer information.
When our staff breaks down these handheld electronics, they basically grade them by type as they're breaking them down. So there's a box of plastic. If we go over another box, this is a precious metal bearing product, and this would actually be a printed circuit board that contains a certain amount of precious metal bearing products, like gold or silver, that we're going to reclaim and recycle. As a whole item, this leaded printed circuit board makes this drive non-recyclable. As we take it apart and more or less demanufacture, we're then turning it into those raw metals and materials the drive once was when it was being manufactured.
We definitely want to keep those valuable materials out of the landfill, but we also want to keep our precious data out of harm's way.
The data security issues that are out there are huge for consumers, huge for corporations. I mean, every consumer's PC has social security numbers, personal information. Every one of these platters basically represents hard drives that we've taken apart here in Intercon. This is where all the data is. Now we run these platters through another machine called a disintegrator to then be demanufactured all the way down to raw metal value.
We have the broke down aluminum drives. They are put into the disintegrator. They're ground up in here. They come right down the conveyor line, and voila, you have the ground up aluminum hard drives.
A lot of different products come back out of what we demanufacture and turn into raw metals and materials here in Intercon.
And it's used its feedstock for downstream American manufacturers who make products out of that.
We found an outlet to use every piece of it in domestic manufacturing.
To make electronics, to make plastic goods, automotive parts, to make buildings. It's absolutely inspiring to see what happens.
Iron-based material actually goes into downtown Chicago building projects. So I can tell you that the Trump Tower has a certain amount of our e-waste in that building.
Businesses aren't the only ones that can get in on the action. Individuals like you and me can recycle our e-waste too.
I think the biggest obstacle that we're faced with is educating the community, educating society. There's a huge amount of electronics out there that needs to be recycled properly. I think a lot of people have been storing a lot of e-waste.
Sometimes, if you have a computer sitting in your basement and you don't know where to go, it just ends up sitting there.
In general, the public's looking for, some assistance. And so they're looking to companies like ours to provide that assistance.
And the neat thing about the last couple years is seeing people actually get behind what we're doing. And now all of a sudden, the tree hugger that I used to be is now the cool guy that's trying to save the environment.
My biggest concern is as a father, as someone who's involved in the community, is to make sure that like our groundwater is safe, that our environment isn't being poisoned, that there aren't toxins in the air.
That's kind of the cool thing about it all is, when you look at it as something that's to be broken down and completely reclaimed, it's cool.
It's totally cool and so easy to do. When we come back, we'll travel to Thailand and meet a man who's converting old shipping containers into sleek new homes. Talk about repurposing. Welcome back to Save My Planet. In today's global economy, stores are full of stuff that's made all over the world. These products have to get to their destinations somehow, and they're usually packed into big shipping containers and sent overseas. Since it's cheaper to make a new container than to send an old one back, these steel boxes are often just stacked up and left for garbage. Well, one guy in Thailand found a way to put those old containers to use and solve a local housing problem at the same time. Let's go to Bangkok and take a look.
I believe that, architecture is a tool to solve social issues. What I want to do is to create low-cost, high-quality, affordable housing. I can't even imagine how many containers there are around the world. But even what we're seeing here, not being used at the moment, there are probably a couple of thousands here. One lucky thing about container is that the steel that container are made of, it's basically the best quality steel money can buy. What we want to do is basically trying to reuse some of those unused items and appropriate for some other purposes like a house. So basically imagine these two containers, being turned into a home. A bedroom up on the overhang on top like that, with the ceiling and floor cut out to make a double height living space, and the stairs up, and the lower part can be turned to a living room, maybe a kitchen, dining room towards the end. That these two containers make a nice home.
Okay, but it's still a shipping container. How are you going to turn that into a house?
So basically, this is what a container is. It's really a steel box, but it is a very strong steel box. The floor is marine plywood, so it is quite strong and it's actually moisture resistant. This is what a container looks like inside. It's really just wall corrugated metal. What it is to turn this into a home, just imagine if you cut open, a section of steel and, imagine the door. Imagine if this entire wall get cut out, right? And another container is right next to it so that it become a wide room. This one house that we're designing is actually a very large house for someone who actually can afford a large home. But his real concern was that he wants this home to be as green as possible. It's actually designed so that there's a lot of cross ventilation inside the home itself. So I believe this home will actually become cool enough not to have to use air conditioning at all. There is a roof up front that basically used to collect rainwater and actually goes into the reservoir because a lot of rainwater now in Thailand go to waste, especially in the city. Everyone at every level in Thailand is starting to concern about the issue of eco-design and sustainability. Wood in Thailand is very hard to find now, and the production of concrete consumes so much energy.
Chuda's homes are also prefabricated, which saves even more resources.
Prefab saves a lot of material because instead of building everything one by one on site, we use industrial process, of building and make everything in a factory, then just move it on site to be installed. One of our first clients is actually a mushroom farmer who, instead, he can't afford to build a house with real wood in Thailand anymore because wood is so expensive.
Chuda's client needed a place to live 3 days a week while running a small business, and a shipping container home provided a lot of benefits.
เนี่ยครับก็คือมีโครงการเกี่ยวกับการลดภาวะโลกร้อนใช่ไหมฮะ
If he doesn't live here anymore, he can actually just move this structure somewhere else. And one of his other concerns is that there's no termite problems, which is a problem in Thailand. This house was built around the concept of 4 R's, right? Reduce, reuse, recycle, and renewable. One of the first thing we use is basically reduce. Like this house is quite small. It's enough for just a family of 3. This is the area where it's multi-purpose for him, that he can use as living area, but it's also kind of like a facility where he actually packs his mushroom. And this is another container here, and it's a little bit offset so that we can have a prefabricated bathroom on this side. We decide to select aluminum windows because most of the aluminum is recycled. And the floor itself, even though it's coated in plastic on top, the bottom part is made from recycled wood.
And how's this for being both green and practical? Chuda designed a great water system to help irrigate the mushrooms.
So this water basically, after it's being used, right, it's going to this gray water septic system, which actually get treated, and actually the water itself gets sprayed automatically out into the field. This is quite interesting. She automatically turns off water when she's soaping. That's the reduction in water consumption. That's actually a great thing, and it's quite natural for her to do this though.
มีที่ว่างอะไรนี้ก็น่าสนใจที่จะเอาตัวนี้ไปลง
So there are a few friends that's been asking a lot about, potentially if they have a piece of land, they would just want to build something like this also.
ถ้าเกิดนั่นจริงๆแล้วก็ต้องมี
Yeah, if he has money, he would like to do it again. Larger scale.
เพราะจริงๆแล้วตอนนี้ผมออกคอนเซ็ปต์ผมอยากจะทำเป็น2 ชั้นด้วยนะ
Yeah, he wants to build 2-story now.
Wow, just imagine the possibilities. Maybe one day we'll see a whole neighborhood of container homes in our own neck of the woods. When we come back, we'll go explore Punta Islita here in Costa Rica and see how one hotel's eco-friendly philosophy is having a big impact on the local community. Welcome back to Save My Planet. Here we are in beautiful Punta Islita, Costa Rica. It's hard to imagine, but a lot of this area was once used for cattle ranching. To make a living, people would strip the land with slash and burn clearing that really took a toll. But with few other options, folks either farmed or left. When the area began to turn into an eco-tourist spot, it became pretty clear to a lot of people that creating a greener planet isn't just about protecting the environment. It's also about giving people the opportunity to change their relationship with the places they live. I'm here with Alonzo Bermudez, who's the general manager here at the Hotel Punta Islita. And Alonzo, I cannot believe how beautiful it is. I'm trying to imagine, going, 15, 20, 30 years back. What was this area like?
To be honest with you, the situation was a lot different. For example, a lot of cattle raising farm and a lot of agriculture and things like that.
So it was mostly subsistence farming, small farmers.
Small farming and a lot of cattle raising, which wasn't not sustainable at all because they used to cut trees and burn everything. So when they burn everything, every life being died there.
Right.
So it was something very difficult.
Were you also a farmer here as well?
Not really, not myself, because my family, they were the ones that were doing it, but they saw that wasn't sustainable at all. They, that wasn't gonna be forever, So they sent me to a school.
So you left here, because there was no work here, and then with the opening of the Hotel Punta Islita, there, opened opportunities.
Sure, I left because there wasn't nothing to do, basically. And I came back and with the opening of the hotel, I started at the front desk and even go step by step until being a general manager.
Are a lot of the other people that work here also from the community nearby?
Yes, 85% of the employees are from the local communities. If the human being doesn't have an opportunity and no education, it will be a disaster for the environmental. So here at the hotel, what we have done is giving an opportunity plus a little bit of education, and then they change, the perspective with the forest and everything.
You know, what's so amazing is that, you wouldn't think of it, but the creation of this hotel is making it so that these forests can regenerate because the people that used to clear them and used to farm them now have jobs here.
The hotel just not provide only work for some of the people, but also provides a lot of services from the people around. So there's a lot of micro business or micro industry that are developed after the hotel started.
So the people don't work for the hotel, but still the hotel's created these jobs outside the walls of the hotel.
Just, for example, we have a little restaurant at the town called Punta. And there's a very nice place where the guests can go and enjoy a real local food, for example.
I'm here with Jose Pizarro, who is also known as Combute, and is the owner of the restaurant here, Combute, which is right next to the hotel, Punta Islita. So what a great thing. You open this restaurant right next to the hotel. So you not only service international tourists, but local Costa Rican tourists. And now people right here from the town are coming and eating at the restaurant, and you're also employing them. How does that feel?
Y eso es lo que nos orgullece mucho, porque de ser algo pequeño, ya somos 8 familias de aquí cerca o del pueblo. Cuanto a los proveedores, sí, lo que son mariscos y todo eso también es una parte muy importante. Nosotros los compramos y se los pagamos para que su familia viva bien.
It's just one more example how when a hotel and development and ecotourism are done right, how this extends to the whole community and how many lives it affects. Qué gusto, Combute. Ahorita voy a comer. I can't wait to try this food. I have a good feeling about it. Mucho gusto.
So good.
Combute's restaurant is just one example of how development, when done right, can lead to a whole ecosystem of its own. Up next, we'll see how all these new opportunities have helped one man to start strumming to a different tune. Welcome back. Creating environmentally sustainable jobs is an important part of saving the planet. Here at the Hotel Punta Islita, they provided jobs for nearly 40% of the local population. And for one man, it's meant a whole world of opportunities for him and the land he calls home. I'm here with Heriberto Vasquez, who is a landscaper here at the Hotel Punta Islita, and what an incredible story. Tell me a little bit about yourself. So you're from right around here?
De Islita, sí. Mi familia, vive de la agricultura.
So I understand, as farmers, that there was lots of destruction and stuff going on with the forests around here.
Agricultura, se destruía mucho el bosque porque hay que talar la montaña y se quemaba. Y en el caso de la ganadería, el fuego iba por la montaña hasta donde pudiera quemar para luego hacer pasto para el ganado.
So do you think if the hotel had never opened, do you think that you would have become a farmer and practiced these same kind of practices?
No, de no ser por el hotel acá, si hubiera población sería demasiado poco, se hubieran ido.
That's really amazing, to think about a place so beautiful and so magical that without, the introduction of this type of tourism, it might have been abandoned. Have you seen a change in the forest and the area around here, in the last 15 years?
Sí. Creo que estamos en un proceso de recuperación. Se arrancó hace unos 15, 20 años. No se veían, digamos que 5 kilómetros de alrededor del hotel, cierta cantidad de animales que usted puede ver ahora y frecuentemente.
There's clear signs of regeneration. These forests are regenerating and the animals are coming back. That is a true sign of success in direct lineage to the building of the hotel.
Tú llegaste como sorpresa.
So I understand, Heriberto, that you have, besides, the work that you're doing here with the landscaping, that you also like to play some music.
Juntos marchando al paso de los años. Sí, yo empecé viendo música en mi familia, con mi papá, toca guitarra.
I understand that the hotel also gives you an opportunity to play there for their guests.
Sí, éramos 3 integrantes, tocábamos en el hotel, tuvimos un verano tocando en cenas en el hotel, una vez por semana.
That's really beautiful because it seems like the hotel is helping them really nurture that musical spirit. Healing the land and creating jobs, that's pretty cool. Whether it's recycling electronics or building homes out of old shipping containers, it's clear that people all over are creating amazing ways to help save the planet. I'm Stephen Brooks. See you next time.